December 15th, 2018, Saturday. Last time I talked about going on the hunt for a new job. And I probably mentioned a position in particular. That one didn't work out. Just whatever. Didn't have the skills they needed. It's fine. It happens. Amongst all that too were probably, we'll say 10 or 12 different opportunities presented to me. One of those I accepted. It's a company called Qualitest. Here in Greensboro, it looks like driving distance might be a little bit closer to where I live, which is great. For 6 months, I'll technically work for the recruiting firm that got me the job, Tech Systems, and then after that, I believe that's when I work for Qualitest itself. So 6 months of the Tech System, working through them technically thing, and then and just the pay I'll make from working through Tech Systems, that's more than I'm making now. And not by, it's another like nickel hour or something. I'm pretty sure it's closer to maybe almost $4 more an hour. And it sounds like I do have to work the actual 40 hours every week. There is no fudging and going, well, you work 39, did you get salary? No. Also, a big chance to actually earn overtime pay, which is great. And if that's not allowed, whatever. I'm still making more freaking money. And of course, the number I'm really going to care about more than anything is, okay, well, how much do I actually bring home? Because I kind of care about that a lot. Because I do. It's great. And I don't know, I'll be taxed how much, whether... I don't feel like I'm entering a new tax bracket, but I'm curious about, since now it's not a salary, it's hourly, if that changes the percentage or whatever. I'd rather taxes just be simple. You pay a certain percentage and that's it. That's just libertarian in me. Anyway. I start that job January 2nd. And it's wonderful because I thought it would be neat. Oh, I'll just start a new job in the new year. But literally the first day I could start a new job like this in the new year, I'm able to. And I also looked at the calendar. So for my 2 weeks notice, say, okay, December 28th is my last day at Market America. And I've been very appreciative of that, and I'm liable to one more time record one of these and go, I'm thankful, I'm happy, da-da-da. I'm liable to do that with, I'll probably make one around the New Year on New Year's Day. I don't know. Anyway. So December 28th is my last day at Market America. So that's like 2 weeks. But you gotta take out 1 day for Christmas Day, office is closed, period. And then another day's gonna be taken out, because I asked for a day off on Christmas Eve. That means I have 8 days at Market America left, actually. And that's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. It's wonderful I'm getting a new job. It's wonderful that I get to do some goofy little exact time I want to do something a lot by accident. It's great. It's really great to be away from all the stuff that's at Market America that I don't want to deal with anymore. I don't have to deal with potentially having to worry about 8 different projects, 7 of which I wasn't even aware of until I was on them, and that's just by the time it's lunchtime on Tuesday. I don't have to deal with how very overly snarky my coworkers are getting, at least some of them are, and just how much they seemingly are cutting corners and not seeing an issue with it anymore. I'm not gonna lie, I probably cut a few corners, but at least I try to not make it so freaking obvious. And I try to only do it when I know there's not going to be a great likelihood of blowback. If I see, for example, that I'm testing the United States and every other country is passing, USA is going to work. Pretty much I'll go another thing I guess I'll like is that with Market America, I feel like I know how I can kind of game the system to some degree. Because we're still not at a point where it's easy to be able to wade through mess. And some of it's not even trying to not wade through it. Some of it's just, here's random builder on. Here's another one. Oh, here's another one. Here's another one. And hey, it's about to come on Wednesday. I know it's not Friday yet, but the chaos just started. I'll be able to get away from all of that. And as much as I'm very thankful that my manager gave me a chance 4.5 years ago, it'll also be nice to not having to be working underneath him and sitting beside him all the time. Because my god, he is a very nice man. He is not somebody that I'd say is evil. But he's probably somebody I need in doses. Not all the time. I'm still planning on whether it's I give it to him or whether I lay it on his desk. It's probably going to be laying it on his desk, or the third option of just mail it to him at some point. A goodbye and thank you gift, because I really do owe him for giving me that opportunity, because me having that job at Market America gave me a job, gave me money, gave me a routine, got me at my parents' house for at least 8 hours a day, let me move out, let me help Chris, let me live on my own, let me give a lot to charity, gave me a lot of experience that gave me this job I have now. Getting a job is a very great thing. It's a wonderful thing to have a job. So it's a job that lets you live on your own. And do things like almost pay off one part of your student loans, be able to own your own car, be within a year of paying off said car loan, and being able to see a very good definitive end to the end of your big student loans. And not ever have to worry about, well, can I eat or not? Always being able to eat, always being able to roof over your head, all that. So again, very thankful for said job. And for giving me an opportunity to live in Greensboro, which let me live where I am, which lets me go see my parents without any real issue. I'm not near a lot of... I'm not near, Chris and everybody that's in Burlington. I'm not near, Byron and Bree and Mebane. So that's really the only thing. And maybe if I lived a bit further east, it would be easier to justify seeing Deanna more often, right? Because right now it's a long drive. I want to say it's an hour or more. That's kind of far away. Market America let me do a lot, and I'm thankful for it. This is probably gonna turn to my thing. Market America was a great thing. So I'm trying to see where Olive went. I am where I am because of Market America. I am where I am because my manager took a chance on some guy who clearly didn't know what a haircut was, and clearly was not very familiar with what it meant to have a well-maintained set of facial hair. Part might just be my dad always had a bushy beard, which now is very well maintained, probably very much like to the chin and all that, you know. But for a while it was bushy, very bushy. He and his brothers could probably literally hide stuff in their beards if they wanted to. Or do what I've seen some pictures of guys hanging like ornaments in their beards because it's so big, you know. I have that as genetics. I was at the genetics release for like really decent one anyway, from just the genes are probably in there because I know that one of my uncles on my mom's side always grew a pretty long beard, you know. So I have the ability to have great beard. But I did trim recently and cut this short. Nick, we noticed. I'm pointing out. And yeah, I need to probably do it at some point anyway, but I had a job interview with Qualitest. So I wanted to look nice. And not look like I just rolled out of a fucking cave. Unlike Market America job. Again, that job was great. Manager's great. Manager also probably under way too much stress. With a woefully understaffed department. With a lot of people that are always going to fight change. In an environment where it can go from peace, calm, and quiet to everything is on fire. And oh, the things we really want to get done, yeah, those get bumped back to maybe we'll get to them next week. One of the more recent additions to the team, Adam, he's also eyeing either going to another department or just leaving the company because he can't deal with a manager at all, and I don't blame him. He probably have a lot of the same ideas we do, honestly, about how he operates. It's just he's a lot more willing to call out shit, pretty much, to say the least. And someone he actually had worked with, a friend of his, Charles, he left a few weeks ago. Last week? Snow really threw us all off. It's a weird week this past week. Anyway. So yeah, that's... Now we get two people that officially have left, and the third that's going to leave. But Adam and me have just... Honestly, he was probably... Everybody on the team was the first one to know because he discussed getting another job, and I openly said, yeah, I'm looking for one too. And he's happy for me. It's great. But because he's had to have probably a few more brusk interactions, I interact with him just more often, period, because my manager is all about, you know, key performance indicators and wanting us to check our work and all this other stuff, which is great. But I don't care necessarily. Do what you have to do, just tell me how I have to document my stuff. Anyway. As agitated as he is with him, he also can just point out that it's not that manager is bad man. I'm pointing to imagine him. I don't know if I've said his name. I probably have. I don't know. Anyway. I don't think it's quite inferiority complex is what he said, but it's something similar where manager Jason feels like he needs to almost overcompensate sometimes, which I can see that. I can definitely see that. Again, I greatly respect my manager. I'm thankful given the opportunity, but I can't keep sitting and working with someone who is way too go. Part of that's just the business. And someone who frequently, and even the manual testing, it said, yeah, she sees it too. He'll state one thing. You'll do what he asks you to do, and then he'll seemingly have either changed his mind or then he reveals the rest of his thought. Or the polite way to put it is that since you didn't read his mind, it was wrong, you have to redo it. Or you have to suddenly do a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't part of the original requirements. Now, Nick, why didn't you just talk to him about this? Well, we may have several conversations. He knows that I never really liked it when he cut me off. Still does it. Still does it to everybody. He'll go on these really long diatribes about stuff, which is just annoying, because many times it's like, yeah, I heard you the past 15 times you talked about us wanting to have, our KPIs to make it look like whatever, so we can just, I know. I almost can guarantee you that if you were to listen to him for a month, I would not be able to tell you one thing that I haven't heard already. It's infuriating. And he wants to mentor and grow people and all of that. And maybe this is just my almost 5 years work experience talking and really only working at one place talking. But I feel like he's trying too hard. And that it almost feels like school. Or at school, of course, in theory, you shouldn't know anything. You need to be taught everything. Unless it's an advanced course or whatever. Where it's just like a finishing type school thing, but it just time and again keeps feeling like he's just training people from the ground up, which is great when you know nothing. Me in 2014, maybe in 2015. But after 4.5 years, after even 3 years, I know, man, I know. Please stop. And so, the reason I'd come up with today that's probably another reason why I need to go is just I've had this before where I've needed to get away from somebody because they've just done or tried to do too much for me. In the case, it's sometimes trying to do too much for me. At least it felt like it. It's probably the 4th time, honestly. The 3rd one was Javier. He was an asshole, so it doesn't count. 3rd time, really. I'm hesitating about what I'm talking about because I'm trying to remember what I've told therapists versus what I've said on here. And one person who's going to be watching this, she's probably aware of it, so it's whatever. But mostly I'm trying to just think about what I've told. So I'm just looking at the phone. I probably need to turn off that I'm looking for a job now. Anyway. I've had people try to do too much for me, and I've had to get away from it for my betterment. The first person was my dad. School was my only job. He helped me do college stuff. I could probably do a college hunt right now on my own very well, but that's just because I've had other skills. I had to do other things. But my actual college hunt, I want to do computer science. I don't want to go to Asheville. that looks good. That's pretty much my contribution to the college hunt. That and filling out paperwork myself, because that's what I'm supposed to do and all that. Although part of that also was probably just my dad said something, and it's probably me just doing something for him. My dad's despised his job that he had that brought us down here. Still doesn't like his career choice, but he doesn't like his job now, which is great. But the job he had at the time, he despised. And he had said one time that he loved doing that. He loved doing the research and looking through everything and all of that. That made him really happy to do. And some of that for sure was, my oldest son's going to go to college. It's exciting. He's probably excited for that. But just doing that as well, probably also, it did actually make him really happy. So that's probably the reason why I was okay with letting him do it, because he was enjoying it. I probably should have done much more than I did, though. But I do know today, though, that I can call on him if I, getting a car. He looked for cars for me, and I could do that now. That's no problem. I need to go into the dealership, that's the story, but I digress. But if I had to look for the lot department I lived at or this apartment, I asked his opinion. My mom's opinion too is like, what do you think of this? My dad said, well, here is, da-da-da, this, da-da-da. And I'm like, this is good because this, and this. So, I know I can count him for anything like that, because he'll do his own quick bit of research and can say, well, have you thought about this, this, and this? And I finally was able to prove, at least to myself, that I can do all this. That was a big deal for me. It leads to Deanna. And I've almost started to talk to her about this. When I lived in Burlington, and even while we dated for 2 years, wasn't so much while we were dating, but it probably really showed itself when I was in Burlington. When I lived there, she was trying to help a lot, being the mother hen, trying to make sure that her friend didn't make any mistakes, anything like that. While we were dating, it was fine, because she was looking out for me and all that. However, by the time I lived in Burlington, I was already... This was after I'd realized that I barely knew how to do anything in the adult world. It was after the almost year of not really having a job for the most part. It was just seeing how little I was ready for the adult world. So I was in a mindset of I need to do things myself. And it isn't that she was overbearing per se, but it was a thing of I wanted to do it on my own. I guess probably thought my mom was a little bit of somebody else who, in a different way, I need to get away from. Indiana, if you do watch this, again, I'm very appreciative of you wanting to help me. I always am. And again, I'm pretty sure we had this conversation of, during that year, it frustrated me because I wanted to be able to do it on my own. I know you understand. I'm pretty sure you do. So that's why it was so important for me to live on my own for so long, or at some point, or to actually have my own, so what I had forgotten for a short period of time. So I'm glad it helped Chris. But in reality, I probably should have lived on my own for a while. Truly on my own. But I digress again. And then my mom was more of just... at a certain point, I don't want to explain what I'm doing or why. I'm just doing it just because at some point. Technically, there's a reason, but I don't want to explain it. And at a certain point, it's just like, just felt like it. That's what it really can come down to at certain points. Well, why'd you go to the store today? You didn't need anything. Thought you needed that. Well, why'd you go drive around? So I drive around. Just needed to do something different. I don't know. There's no real reason for it. So yeah, just Jason, wonderful manager, wonderful person. Just sometimes he contradicts himself a lot. And I feel like he does and doesn't desire micromanagement. I think that when it comes down to it, he'd rather not, but I think there is some small part of him that wants to and feel like he needs to. The problem is that he can't keep being that involved with trying to get certain things done with people who also have to do so many other things as well. We don't have time to suddenly carve out 3 hours of our day because he failed to explain something, or he just now decided to explain the rest of whatever idea he had. If our job all day was to do that, was to essentially just be a lead and make sure documentation all that was correct, fine, cool, yeah. Part of the job is lead to report. But you're dealing with automation engineers who also have to do manual testing builds, who also have to go to Scrum meetings for projects, who also have to go do who knows what else. People doing 4 or 5 jobs, which compounds the understaffing issue. I'll still miss the people I work with, even though I just said I'm annoyed with how flippant they are about stuff. You know, I've talked about how there's so many things about my manager that just there's no point in trying to change it now. He's 42 now, I think, and he's not going to change. I still truly do respect the people I work with and truly enjoy the people I've worked with. And I owe it to everyone there for making me better. I owe it to, again, my manager Jason for giving me an opportunity 4.5 years ago. And I owe it to Sherry, the lead of manual testing. Fun fact, my mom's name is also Sherry, but they spell it differently. I think my mom's spelling is cooler. Anyway, I owe it to Sherry, the lead of manual team, for talking with me one day and just having a conversation. Not as a lead, but as a person. And it was in there that she talked about, there's times where she thought about leaving, and also just talking about how much Market America can shoot people up and spit them out and not really care that people stay or not. There's something about hearing that from her, and I believe if it isn't her only job, it might as well be the only thing on her working experience, because she's worked there, I think, 20 years. I think it's 18 years, like that. A really long time for majority of the company's history, and for most, if not all, of her working life. She's worked Market America. So to hear that from her, that's what probably set the dominoes finally in place, because they started falling when Jason Mallison, one of my coworkers that had been there for close to 3 years, left, because he was just one of the Pillage automation team, and he left. And I was just like, I don't like this anymore. And then there's also little things along the way. There was one day where we were having to help test something for the Monterey company, shop.com, and manager was going over, oh, they do this, and da-da-da, and I was just thinking, I don't care. How they do it is stupid. I don't care. Then there was the almost 6 months where we didn't touch automation at all. Aside from looking at our jobs and saying they're on fire, but we have no time because we had 20,000 things to test. But it was Jason Mallison leaving that I think was probably that real catalyst, that beginning of the end, where the end was pretty much near. And if it weren't for, it was actually Adam coming on board and being said, yeah, Nick, you're going to train him, because he was going to sit next to me. Oh, you could have found somebody better. If you didn't, I know the framework. Anyway, it was him coming on board, so I decided, well, I mean, I can't just be training him and then also looking for a new job. That didn't feel right. I felt right saying, okay, once he's been here, I think I'd said a month. And maybe ended up being able to settle on 2 or 3 months. He'd been there 2 or 3 months. I'm like, okay, now I can go. But the thing that definitely lengthened it was, oh, well, July's coming along. There's going to be a lot of convention testing. I can't leave in the middle of that. I can't do that to everybody. Of course, then convention in August rolled around. I had a very nice week off. I was happy. I was excited. It was awesome. That was actually the week that Raw was in Greensboro, and I brought Deanna, and she had a fun time and all that. Yeah. So just going on along. It was Sunday afternoon before I had to go back. Okay. Also, there was that week off, then a week I had taken off earlier where I had given people, like, okay, here's what I'm working on, make sure you maintain it, da-da-da. Both times, pretty much nothing got done, and my automation was in really bad shape. So I might as well have just not bothered to take the probably 2 to 4 hours over the preceding week to get it ready. I think one time it was by accident. The automation was on fire, but still it wasn't that hard to fix either, I don't think. I would have understood, okay, well, you fixed it, I can fix it back, whatever. So there was that of, can I not take a week off? Really? I laid this out like I'm asked to do, and nothing gets done? Is that how busy we are that I can't even take a week off? Really? And then I have also just felt a little bit of, okay, well, let me see this one Scrum project done. It was a pretty big one. I was launching a new site. Mostly informational site, but still, I think that also may have been there as well, where it's like, well, let me see this project to the end. And maybe also a little bit of just wanting to see, alright, is this gonna get better? That may have been it. I don't know. I know that it probably was just, it just kind of got lost. So I just got kind of focused back on work. Then we'd started tracking tasks in a new way, which I think works, or it can, but it needs to be a lot more figured out. And it's good because it's exposing what we're doing, which is good. There was a checkpoint meeting about, goals and how I'm doing over the past few months since April, and it was like, okay, well, we're going to find you stuff to do and all that, find a way for you to do more automation, whatever, and thought everything was cool. Then started using the Jira thing for a week, pulled me aside and was very upset. I had put in fluff tasks, I'm not doing automation. And for one, it was completely off guard. This was a week after we'd had that meeting. If it was a month and I hadn't been doing anything, but we just started tracking tasks that way. We just a week prior had some talk about where I want to go from here. And this is an example of words meaning entirely different things depending upon how you say them. Because he was talking about how, I'm almost there, I've almost got it, I need to correct it a little bit. The words said that. The tone said that I had really screwed up, though. Or that I had screwed up kind of badly. Words sound like, okay, it's been a bit of time, we need to correct it a little bit, but it's fine. But then tone said that you would have thought that I'd been doing this wrong for weeks. Not a week, weeks, plural. And that I'd constantly not been doing it. And the fluff task was me wanting to document, hey, this is what I'm seeing with the Scrum process, which we still don't frickin' have figured out. Let me say that again. I wanted to document my experience with this process we aren't using in full yet, and we still seem to have questions about whether he recognizes it or not, and he wanted to get on me for that being a fluff task. There's that whole rigmarole and all of that, and he had brought in Sherry, because it's important to have both. He's not really a mission lead anymore. He's the director. He needs a designated automation lead anyway. Then both in the talking about, having the task I need and all that, and just, after a while, she just said, yeah, let me talk to Nick for a while. And it was about a 40-something minute conversation. And it was in there where just her talking about, she says about leaving the job too. And now she's just seeing people get chewed up and spat out, just talking about and admitting some of the exact same problems that I'd been seeing. She saw them too. It wasn't judgmental, it wasn't trying to correct me, it was just, he was talking to another person. And that was, I want to say that was maybe first week of November. I don't know if it was like the first fraction of a week or the first full week of November. I don't remember which, but it was early November. It was really early on in this conversation she said that. I thought about it. And it was there essentially that I decided that, yeah, it's time to move on. I waited and I waited and I waited for things to get better. As much as they've gotten better in some ways, they haven't in others. And Adam is right that at a certain point, Jason's come to answer to why he's having a monstrous, almost sudden turnover rate in his QA team right now, at least from the automation perspective. Because let's say she was an incompetent boob, she doesn't count. I'm not sure if Trayvon came and went in the same year, but he left earlier this year. Mouse. Charles. Myself. 4 people already are going to be gone by end of the year, counting myself. The tables we sit at can hold 8 people. Now we've replaced 1. We replaced 2. Double checking my math. Yeah, we replaced them. Maybe even added 1 more person, I think, somewhere in all that as well. But major cog in that machine is about to leave now. He'll need to answer for that, simply put. Because he's about to have 3 people that are leaving or transferring probably within a month. It's not a good look. And you can try to write off as, end of the year, whatever. 3 people, really? 2 of which hadn't been there for a full year. 2 of which have been there for maybe 6 months. Now, I can't answer for the one guy who left, Charles. Maybe he just really was interested in whatever the new position was. But we'll see. We will see. Again, though, new year, new job. This is already running 40 minutes, and I apologize for that, and I thank you for watching it as far as you have. I'll probably make one more maybe on the new year where I just reflect on how 2018 was a year of me getting my stuff together. Let me just end this here and upload it. Thank you for listening. Bye.